a little bit then about you, Jesper. When did you start producing music, trance music?
My father is Swedish and my mother is Finnish, and we went to Finland to visit some relatives in 1994. And while I was there, one of my cousins showed me a software called Scream Tracker, and he made some music, and I was so surprised using this Amiga computer to just make some beautiful music. And this was during the time when I was so involved with, I loved like the 2 Unlimited, the Capella, Ice MC, and that kind of music. And he made some really serious, good Euro techno kind of music. So I asked him to just, can you bring me a diskette? That's the young kids won't know what that is, but it was like a little diskette with Scream Tracker. And I went home and I just tried it out, and I was so inspired I realized there's a way for me to actually wrap my head around making my own kind of music, because from the moment that I started listening to music, I had no idea how it was made. I had no idea if there were computers, synthesizers, I knew nothing about it. But when he showed me this software, I realized, okay, here I can see it from top to bottom, from left to right, how you arrange stuff. And he gave me the software, and I went home and I started to make some music, and it sounds really, really crappy. And that was in '94, and it took me about 6 years until 2000 for me to actually make a sound for myself that was acceptable, I guess, for releases. In the beginning of 2000, the 4th of January 2000, when I got my first real big job that paid good, the first thing I did with my first payment was to buy a synthesizer. And I said to myself, okay, let's try this for real, see if I can make it. And a year later I had my first record deal.
How did you feel when you got your first signing?
I was involved in a remix competition. It's Ralph Ridge's track Angel, I believe.
Angel,
yeah, and I made a remix, and I was so happy with it. In my opinion, it was the best remix ever of any track. And 5 tracks from that remix competition would end up winning and be on the vinyl.
Yes.
And once they announced the winners, was only 5 remixes from German producers. And I got a little pissed off because I had worked on it for so long. So I just sent an email to the guy holding the competition for Go For It, and asked, is it possible that it was only German people, because it's easier to just write the contracts with people in the same country? And they said, no, we just took the remixes that we liked the most. And I said, fair enough. It's alright. But I kept contact with the guy that held in the remix competition, and I just kept sending my tracks to him after I made them. But I didn't know that he sent them to the record label president of Go For It, which was Mark Romboy of Market Claude. And one day Mark replied to my friend Thorsten and said, we want to sign this. So I didn't even know that I was up for signing track. I just sent him to get feedback, and he said, oh, that's pretty good. Once you sign one track, it's much easier to sign the more tracks. So I was so happy. I was walking on clouds for months for signing a record. Yeah. And the first time I heard the track in a club, it was in Denmark. I was dumbfounded. You know, it's such an incredible feeling seeing a DJ playing one of your tracks while you're in the crowd, and everyone's, well, people are not leaving the dance floor, they're actually dancing, and that's such a great experience. I was actually like a bar pub DJ playing the top 40 kind of music since...
Like all of us?
Yeah, since 96 to 97, driving around the city late at night, around like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, playing for no money at all, doing the Tarkan, the Bailando, all that kind of top music. And so I knew the basics of DJing, and once I got signed and released my records, I got a whole new level of DJing. And now I could just make a record, I get booked, and I can play what I want. That was such a big turning point for me, but I've been doing it since, and I really love it. And it's such a challenge to actually play music to make sure that people actually like it.
From your tracks, from your back catalog, do you have favorites?
One of my favorite tracks is Pandemonium on Go For It. I didn't get that much attention actually, but it has such an amazing build-up, and I still love it. And apart from that, I really like Garden State, Medusa, and Escape. Those are my personal favorites.
After a long time, I think you post something like saying that you give up the trance scene.
I got in a lot of trouble for that because people thought, wait, what, are you quitting music?
Yes.
And I did actually. I quit music. I quit dance music. Quit trance music for over a year. It was actually labels. It's better now because there are so many labels. Everyone's trying to treat you nice because there are so many other labels competing for you. But back then there were so few labels that would sign you that they said what they wanted, and they would screw you over the first chance they get. And yeah.
The most of the record labels then they don't treat right the artists.
No. Back then they didn't. They tried to make as many, so much money as they could, and if they signed new tracks, new producers that didn't know about music, they would just give them contracts that were horrible. And it's such a lousy business. Contracts are the worst in music industry. It's the worst industry you can get into.
Really?
It's horrible. Yeah. So I got screwed over by a label, and I thought, okay, screw this. I don't want to do this. It's such a terrible way to make a living. So I said, okay, I'll quit it. It's not worth the headache for all the problems. So I said, okay, let's just go back to the studio and try to make something else, just to play around, see what happens.
What kind of music did you produce then?
I did some electro pop music, a little bit glitchy kind of electro. A year later, I felt, okay, I have so many melodies inside me that I need to bring out and make trance music of. So I decided to go back at it again to make music and sign with the labels, and I decided for myself that, okay, labels in trance music are shit. They were back then. And I said, okay, let's play the game the way they play it. So I told them, okay, I'm going to bring my alias, Airbase. You're not going to sign it exclusively. I'm going to keep my name. You can sign my tracks if you want it. If you don't want it, I'll bring it to someone else, because there's always labels that want to sign it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
because your music is so nice.
Well, I had made a name for myself, so I was very happy to have that kind of arguing point that I could tell them, if you don't like it, I can take it to another label. And that kind of put the pressure on the label instead of them pressuring me. I've been working on the album for 18 months right now, and people thought that I quit again, but I didn't. I just went back to the studio, and I've been working really, really hard for.
Did you work with vocal tracks or just?
There's I think it's 2 or 3 vocal tracks on the album right now. There's one vocal track with Floria Ambra, who made
Floria was great in the previous one.
Thank you. She did a good job on
excellent.
Dinar, and she did a wonderful job on Wonders and on Interferes. I do trance music only, and that's a big problem for most vocalists today. They make some trance and they try to make like a pop rock album, and I guess that's a problem. But Floria Ambra has never had the intention of doing trance music. She has this kind of Björk, that kind of a little bit weird voice, and I'm a sucker for that kind of weird voices. I'm a little bit allergic to the whole la 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 la. The generic vocals. I need something a little bit special, and she provided it, and that's actually how we met, through her vocals, because I found her because of her unique way of singing. And she's not that into trance music, but I just told her, okay, I have a track here. Do you mind just trying to sing on it? And she said, oh yeah, let's try it. And she did, and it turned out beautiful. And since
she's Swedish as well?
Yeah. Well, it's my fiance. The track with her on the album is the best track we've made so far. It beats Denial, it beats Wonders, it beats Interfere. It's the best track I've made with her. It's a beautiful track.
Do you work a lot for your tracks? I mean, do you spend many days, nights?
I make so many tracks that I never finish, but the tracks that I do finish, I finish them very fast in 2 days or 3 days, and then it takes about 3 or 4 weeks to just master it, changing the details. I mean, I get the rough idea in a few days, and then it's all about tweaking the little sounds, making sure all the levels are right. Few exceptions, like Genie that I made in 2002, it took 3 months to do. I don't know why it took so long, but it's the only track that I've made that took so long.
When you produce a track, do you have a certain idea of what you want to do, or usually you play around with melodies?
I never have any idea. I just sit down in the studio, okay, let's make something good. And I start with a kick drum, I start making the bass line. As always, the thing is, a lot of producers starts with a breakdown, and then
exactly.
they build the intro, they build the outro, and have the main theme. Unfortunately, I don't do it that way. I start from the beginning with the intro, building a suspense, atmosphere, beats and everything, and then I get to the break, and then I just make up a melody when I get there.
Do you have a title for the album?
We Might Fall. With all the artist albums coming out, everyone tries to make dance music and put some chill out tracks and, you know, be diverse a little bit. I screw that. It's all dance music all the way through.
So it's going
no radio edits. It's all full on good cuts, long tracks with intro, outro. And a freaking lot of melodies. It's because I know how I like to have albums when I buy them. I don't want radio edits, like 20 tracks, 3 minutes long, and I don't want chill out tracks. I mean, if you buy an album from a trance producer, you want trance music. That's the whole point. And I want to make an album that doesn't take away from the whole experience of Airbase. I just want to make dance music and try to cover as much area as possible. There's uplifting stuff, there's a little bit chill stuff, there's some almost housey stuff, but it all fits into a regular trance.
So you are not influenced at all from the Swedish House Mafia phenomenon?
I wish I was. I just can't figure out how they make music. They're extremely talented. I just can't figure out how they do it. I wish I knew how they did it. If I knew, I could be a part of it, but I don't think they want me there.
Why do you think Sweden has so many talents in music? I mean, it's not only you, there are many artists from Sweden in electronic music.
I wish I could answer to that. I don't know. There's no scene in Sweden for dance music, so we have to prove ourselves in other scenes, in Holland, in Germany, in England and stuff. So we just try our hardest, and I guess that's why it works. I don't know. I had two friends that had an idea to make a big community site for dance music lovers, and they were two of my closest friends, and they asked me, because I was working with graphic design back then, so they asked me, do you want to design it? And I said, sure, why not? So I just jumped on the train and I went with it and designed the stuff. Yeah, I remember when I started, I tried to ask people if they could explain how they did stuff, and no one wanted to actually say what they did. So I was a little bit disappointed that they weren't able to tell me. Well, they don't have to tell the details, just give me a direction to go. And now I've made myself a name. I've released so many records, so many remixes, that I thought, okay, let's do what those people didn't do to me. So I decided to, okay, let's try make some tutorials, help people out, tell them when they ask. I mean, real concrete answers.
Some tutorials.
Yeah, I made like 14 tutorials on YouTube. Yeah, to help people out. It's quite basic stuff, but I mean, for a new beginner, they don't have a clue. Even the most basic tutorials are very much valuable to those. It's help that I didn't get when I started. If I got a software to make music and I couldn't figure out how it worked, I had to just sit down, read the manual, figure it out the hard way. And now it's another climate on the web. You can find tutorials and everything. And I just thought I might pitch in and help some. You fans, you're truly amazing. I'm so happy. I'm so humbled for you. I'm happy that you guys love my music. I just wish I loved it as much. But that's the whole point. As long as I don't love it, I need to improve, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to improve and make it better and better and better. And I promise you, I'll make better music all the time. That's my goal.